Summary of There Are No Children Here by Alex Kotlowitz. Journalist Alex Kotlowitz documents the lives of two young children, Lafayette and Pharaoh Rivers, who live in a public housing complex in Chicago during the summers of 1987 to 1989. He writes about them for the first time when Pharaoh is 9 and Lafayette is 12. They live in the Henry Horner homes, which they often call the projects or the ghetto. There is constant fear and violence between gangs there. It's been hard for the two brothers over the years because they have to watch their friends die and often put their own lives in danger to protect the lives of those they care about. LaJo Rivers, their mother, has lived at Horner for many years. In the 1950s, when she moved into the brand new Henry Horner homes, people were optimistic about the future and the town as a whole. Even though the public housing complex was built on the edges of Chicago, far from the city's main institutions, the people of Horner learned to work together to protect their health and safety and fight for better schools, healthcare, and safety. Soon, though, gangs like Jimmy Lee's conservative vice lords started to form and put people's lives in danger. This created a culture of fear and revenge, and over time, neighbors lost trust in each other. As drug dealing and gang fighting got worse, neighborhood ties were broken. People learned to shut themselves off and only trust their closest family and friends to care for and help them. This general downturn can be seen in how LaJo's home life has changed over time. LaJo got pregnant quickly after meeting Paul Rivers when she was 14. She has 3 children in a few years: LaShawn, Paul, Weasel, and Terrence. She then gets married to Paul Rivers, but she finds out quickly that he is hooked on drugs. Because of this, her marriage falls apart, and from then on, LaJo takes care of all of her children by herself. Besides her husband, her children also let her down in the end. Somehow, all 3 of them quit school, get into trouble with the law, or use drugs. LaShawn becomes hooked to drugs and sometimes turns to prostitution to support her habit. Weasel is jailed for his part in a burglary. The choices Terrence makes in life have the most impact on LaJo of the 3 kids. They are very close until LaJo's younger children, Lafayette, Pharaoh, and the triplets, are born. That's when Terrence starts to think that his mother isn't giving him enough love and care. Because of this, Terrence leaves the house when he is 9 years old. Charles, a drug dealer in the area, takes him in and uses him to sell drugs. Terrence stays involved in a lot of illegal activities while he is young, even though both LaJo and Paul try to get him to come back on many occasions. He is finally given an 8-year prison term for allegedly taking part in a crime. LaJo decides to put all of her effort and trust in Lafayette and Pharaoh to make up for her past mistakes. She hopes that they will not turn out like their older brothers. She also gets mental support from Lafayette, who is 12 years old, and often tells him things that are too personal for his young mind to handle. Lafayette worries about his family so much that he acts like a dad to his younger brothers. He also acts too aggressively sometimes because he wants to protect the people he loves. The area is especially dangerous in the summer of 1987. After being shot several times, the Rivers family runs to the hallway to hide, away from any openings that could be hit by bullets. The death of Lafayette's friend Birdleg is the start of what people in Horner call the death train in his life, which changes it in big ways. In the middle of a fight, a member of the Disciples, a rival gang, kills 15-year-old Birdleg. Birdleg had just joined the Vice Lords and was very interested in gang competition. Later, Jimmy Lee is at the young boy's funeral, which takes place at a storefront church away from the neighborhood so that the Disciples won't get in the way of the service. During the ritual, Pharaoh cries, but Lafayette stays calm and can't show how sad he is. Afterwards, he and his friend James talk about how sure they are that they will die soon. The violence around the Rivers boys makes them react in different ways to how unsafe their lives are in general. Pharaoh starts to stutter, and the severity of it is directly linked to his fear. Because his stutter makes him feel bad, Pharaoh doesn't talk very often. Lafayette starts to hide his feelings, but his brother's mental pain was easy to see. Life at Horner is uncertain, and he thinks that friends could die or betray him at any time. He tells his mother that he will no longer have friends, but only associates, because he doesn't trust people enough to call them friends. Pharaoh's only safe place from the chaos in the neighborhood is school. He is very proud of himself when he is picked to compete in the school spelling bee. On the day of the battle, though, he gets too worried and excited, and his stutter makes it impossible for him to say a word. He is then eliminated. He doesn't let this setback stop him, though. He plans to work even harder to win next year's spelling bee. During this time, he meets Ricky, a new friend who is known for getting into fights but helps protect Pharaoh. At first, Lafayette doesn't like this relationship because he thinks Ricky might be bad for his little brother, but he too grows to like Ricky. At the same time, Terrence is jailed on suspicion of taking part in a theft, even though he says he is innocent and his whole family trusts him. Around the same time, LaJoe's welfare benefits are taken away by the public aid department because they learned that Paul Rivers sometimes sleeps in her flat. Even though LaJoe knows this is the only choice, she tells Lafayette how worried she is about it. She soon learns that her unchecked worry is turning her son into what she calls a 12-year-old man. The Rivers family still has hope because of some good things that have happened. At Horner, a young guy named Craig Davis sets up turntables in front of the Rivers' building and invites people to come out and dance. For many people, this is one of the few times they have felt free and happy in their lives. Craig makes Lafayette like him by being honest and listening to what the boy has to say. Craig has a usually positive outlook on life because he is determined to work hard so that he can buy a house away from the projects one day. He tells Lafayette to do well in school and stay away from gangs. Lafayette fears him. LaJoe's sister Dawn's high school graduation is another exciting event that the kids find motivational, as is LaJoe's successful reapplication for welfare. Over time, the boys find it harder and harder to keep themselves safe in the neighborhood. It gets worse for Lafayette as he gets closer to Ricky because of the boys' bad behavior. Store theft is the first time Lafayette has been in trouble with the law. A lot of boys from the neighborhood try to make money by helping people park their cars near the stadium. Lafayette has a bad experience with a police officer who grabs him and throws him into a puddle for no reason. Lafayette is even less trusting of the cops after this. So is Pharaoh. He is driven to think about problems in society. He thinks about how different he is from the white people at the stadium and starts to wonder if all black people are poor and live in the projects. But Lafayette still has trouble with the cops. He is most angry at the police and the court system when Craig Davis is killed by a police officer who did not follow the rules. Craig's death breaks Lafayette's heart and changes his life in a big way. He turns into an even more shy, moody, and unwilling to show his feelings person. He thinks Craig's death was very unfair and that he could be killed at any time, even though he hasn't done anything wrong. Craig died on the same day that Pharaoh competes in his second spelling bee, and after weeks of hard work, he comes in second place. This is very sad for the Rivers family. The boy is happy and proud, but his family is sad about Craig's death, which takes away from his joy and pride. Over the next few weeks, the local manager of the Chicago Housing Authority, CHA, finds a horrible scene in the basement. Broken appliances lie in pools of water next to animal waste and dead bodies. Many of the building's problems can be explained by this event, which prompts the CHA to finally move and make things better for the residents. Vincent Lane, who is now in charge of the CHA, tries to take back control of buildings that are being run by gangs so that he can fix them up and make them safer. Even though these are all good signs, things take a turn for the worse for the Rivers family when Lafayette and 4 other boys are arrested at the stadium one night for supposedly breaking into a parked truck. Lafayette and the other 4 boys are found guilty, even though they all say they are innocent. This event makes him even more angry at how unfair life is. Alex Kotlowitz talks about what has happened in the year since Lafayette was arrested in the epilogue. He says that he personally helped Lafayette and Pharaoh get into a private school in the area. Pharaoh does well there, but Lafayette has had trouble keeping up with the work and had to go back to public school. Even though Lafayette graduated from 8th grade, He was caught smoking pot before school, and Lajo is afraid that he will give in to the bad forces in the neighborhood. The CHA's lack of funds also hurts its performance at Horner because it can't fix up and protect all the houses there. Therefore, the future of the characters' lives and their neighborhood is still mostly unknown. It can be affected by random events or by people's strong will, drive, and hard work.
About the author. Alex Kotlowitz grew up in New York City and went to Wesleyan University in Connecticut. It was there that he found his love for writing about race and poverty in America, as well as problems of city life and social policy. Kotlowitz has spent his whole career diving deeply into people's lives to give voice to those who can't speak for themselves and show bigger problems in society. From 1984 to 1993, Kotlowitz worked as a staff writer for the Wall Street Journal. It was there that he started writing about the problems kids in poor cities face. Because of this, he wrote There Are No Children Here in 1992, which was a huge hit across the country and won a lot of awards. His second book, The Other Side of the River, A Story of Two Towns, a Death, and America's Dilemma, came out in 1998. It's about a strange death in a small town and how it relates to racial inequality in the United States. He lives with his family just outside of Chicago, Illinois.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.